camera.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, a lot of interesting things today. Some things might make the platform actually a lot worse for people who do content revolving around kids and stuff, I suppose. Not putting kids in like videos and all that, more like things, I guess, things like toy reviews or channels that focus on kids stuff. But first, the first interesting thing I read was people often say don't point your lasers and stuff in the sky because it could basically hit things like an airplane, I guess blind pilots and all that. How about people using it on drones to actually crash them? To me, I was like, what? Basically, apparently in Chilean, it says there's been a bunch of protests, and as a result, I suppose the police has been using drones to monitor the situation, like the exact scenario and stuff, I'm not sure. But I guess with all these drones in the air, all these protesters basically started shining like laser pointers, like really basic one, but there was a ton of people doing it on the drone, as you can see here. And for whatever reason, as this laser's pointing on the drone, you can see it just starts spinning out of control, and then eventually it falls down, and everyone's kind of celebrating at the fact that they did that. Kind of weird how just with yesterday you're talking about things like tracking drones and stuff like that, or ways to take down drones, and here it is just with some like cheap laser pointer, so to speak. People can take down a whole drone. I'm not exactly sure which model they're using, brand or whatever. I'm assuming it's like a DJI model, but it makes you wonder, how did this happen in that case with just lasers pointing at a drone? Some people were at first saying, oh, it basically blinded the drone pilot because of all the lights and stuff in the screen, but that doesn't make a drone spin in circles and then crash. So could it be the lasers in some ways interfered with things like the sensors and all that? Or is it possible the laser burnt something out, like within the drone? Because I know they often say with things like sunlight and stuff, you shouldn't like put your lens directly into a bright sunlight, otherwise it could burn out the lens and stuff as well. So it's kind of fascinating if anyone knows the scientific reason why the drone fell. That's just so weird to think about with all the hysteria and stuff like that. How to take a drone down? Here you have people firing $1 million missiles at it, coming out with really expensive drone tracking software, people shooting guns, and here you probably have something you can buy at a dollar store to take it down. And the other thing came across to me when I uploaded the video. I saw all these messages saying I have to determine whether or not my content was made for kids. I'm like, what's this all about? Now you can see you have options here. You say, yes, set this channel as made for kids. I always upload content that's made for kids. No, I set this channel as not made for kids. I never upload content that's made for kids. Or third one, I want to review this setting for every video. Because you may remember not too long ago, YouTube got sued for essentially, I guess, serving kids targeted advertising through data, like from them watching videos, and because of that, I guess it violated various US laws and they got fined in a hefty way. So I suppose because of that, YouTube has to make changes in terms of anyone targeting videos against kids. You have to mark it and so forth, I suppose. Otherwise, you could get a hefty fine in the US, upwards per video into the 5-figure range. That's kind of crazy. At first I was wondering, well, I guess this is a US thing. Does that mean everyone else around the world, like for myself in Canada, do I have to do this as well? It says right on the YouTube page here, it says determining if your content is made for kids. Regardless of your location, we require you to tell us whether or not your videos are made for kids. We are making these changes according to an agreement with the U.S. Federal Trade Commission and to help you comply with the Children's Online Privacy Act, or the COPPA, and or other applicable laws. Failure to set your content appropriately may result in consequences on YouTube or have legal consequences under COPPA and other laws. So again, it's one of those questions, okay, what is it made for kids? Is it just if there's a kid in there? Is it just if you talk about like a kid's toy or something like that? And it says here, we provide some guidance on what is considered made for kids below, but we cannot provide legal advice. If you are unsure whether or not your video meets the standard, we suggest you seek legal counsel. And apparently some points from the FTC they say children are the primary audience based on the factors described below. Children are not the primary audience, but the video is still directed to children based on the factors below. When deciding whether or not your channel or video is made for kids, you should consider the various factors including subject matter of the video, example, educational content for preschoolers, whether children are your intended or actual audience for the video, whether the video includes child actors or models, whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures, whether the language of the video is intended for children to understand, whether the video includes activities that appeal to children such as playing, acting, simple songs or games, or early education, whether the video includes songs, stories, or poems for children. And the last point they have is any other information you may have to help determine your video's audience, like empirical evidence of the video's audience. To me, it's a little overboard just with the way it sounds. I mean, even in a traditional TV setting or something like that, like if let's just say if someone's buying advertising and so forth, I don't think it's that strict usually. I mean, people usually buy, like, say, airtime saying, oh, I want to show it on this show because I think basically there's going to be, I don't know, whatever. If there's parents are going to watch the commercials or the kid's going to watch the commercial and then nag the parents for that. And they basically just pay money because they think they'll get the right exposure. Whereas in this case, it's just like a flat out, no, we got to restrict you in every single way. That's a little unfortunate for those people. I mean, with things like comments being disabled and everything like that, like, why go that far? I mean, in that case, I think it's up to the parents' responsibility, honestly. If you don't want your child going and watching various videos, it's your responsibility to say, okay, nope, no computer or whatever. I mean, generally speaking, like, what would you consider squirrels in a video as an example? Is this a kid-friendly? Is that all of a sudden going to be, okay, it's targeting kids? Kind of makes me curious just to make like some random video or something like that, maybe with a new Pokemon game. Like, is that basically targeting kids just because it has a video game that everyone can play as an example? Yeah, they eat it, but then it takes them a lot of work, so they want to kind of hide and make sure they're protected, I guess, like everywhere. So I got to find a safe place for them to crack it open from the start, I guess. No way it would eat this, right? It looked like it was going to do it at first. I guess it still continues to basically try to wait for a squirrel that'll actually open it. I know that little small one usually stays there, but again, I haven't seen it in a while. This feels like one of those arcade games where you put in like a token or something like that and hopefully you get the prize kind of thing. Because I've never seen it before in terms of them opening something like that. I think it'll be kind of interesting to see. Alright, see you guys later.